So as I said, this week is the end of we're almost at the end of this week. I know a lot of people looking forward to next week, right? Because Chuseok is very, very near. Now, some people are looking forward to the days off, but some people are already stressed out, right? Because Chuseok not only brings you just, rest, days off and whatnot, but it comes with it, families getting together. 뭐 그것도 좋긴 좋은데 a lot of talk happening amongst families, and sometimes it's, not the best kind of talk. Sometimes could lead to a lot of stress. So, to talk a little bit about this, we have in the studio 우리 오 원장님 아주 patiently waiting. Let's get to today's 마음톡톡. Time for 오정아의 마음톡톡, and we have 원장님 back here in the studio. 원장님 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요. Hello everyone. This is 오정아 from Chicago Therapeutic Center, Chicago 심신치유센터.
네, 원장님 반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Are you enjoying the weather outside today?
Today?
네, 오늘 살짝 좀 가을 날씨였는데.
Yeah, windy and rainy.
원장님은 좀 그런 날씨를 선호합니까? Or do you like summer days?
I like shiny day rather than
like sunny days.
Sunny days. But it's okay.
Oh,
yeah,
it's okay. 괜찮았어요?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
How
So
about
not
you?
the biggest fan. 저는 완전 I think you know how they say weather can make a person's can determine a person's feeling. 저는 여름을 그렇게 막 싫어하는 편은 아닌데 I love fall, right? So today 하루 종일 저 기분이 좋았어요. But I think it's because of the weather. 네, 그런 거가 봐요. But just to share, because we talk about feelings and emotions
네.
during your segment.
Right,
I just wanted to share with you today. I felt very good,
great.
and it's because of the weather.
Right.
So today for IOB Mind Talk, 마음톡톡, I kind of gave an introduction to our listeners what we're going to talk about. So
Sure.
what do you have for us today, 원장님?
Yeah, when it comes to traditional holidays like Chuseok is coming up next week, many people are stressed out for different reasons. So I'd like to focus on one of the issues. Let's listen to today's story.
I'm an unmarried man in my late 30s. Last Chuseok was tough because my relatives asked me lots of intense questions that made me feel like I was being interrogated. They asked me things like, when will you get married? Why don't you have a better job? Are you ever going to settle down? Those questions hurt and made me feel like I'm not doing things right. How can I handle these nosy questions and the pressure they bring? 아이고, 어떡해. I've been in his shoes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
네.
So do I. Let's refer to this writer as 지호.
네.
I'm really sorry to hear that you had such a tough time during the last Chuseok due to those probing questions from your relatives. So it can be challenging to handle these kinds of situations, and it's completely understandable that it made you feel uncomfortable and under pressure.
네.
So Minsu, what are your thoughts on Jiho's situation?
So, Chio, like I said, I've been in your shoes, right? When I first started, I don't know when, I think it's maybe when I was in high school, maybe, and about to go to college.
Okay.
Whenever my family would get together, not only for Chuseok, just any family gathering, 가족들 모이면요. 전공을 뭐 할 거니? 들어가고 싶었던 대학교 들어가니? Did you get into the school that you wanted? Which I didn't. They're like, oh, I see. Well, how's the school that you got into? And then it started from there. And then now, as soon as I get when I get older and older, they exact those questions. When are you going to get a girlfriend? When are you going to get a job? When are you going to get married? 결혼하고 나서, when are you going to have children? 애를 낳고 나서 when are you going to have your second children, right? 처음에는 엄청
네.
스트레스였거든요. 그런데 I've learned I don't know if this is the healthy way to do it. 이렇게 건강하게 이렇게 해결하는 건지 잘 모르겠는데요. I've learned to kind of just like tune them out. 그냥 네 하고 그냥 in one ear out the other
Okay.
kind of situation, right? So that's like what I went through, and I feel like 지효's going through the same thing as I have. 네,
I
그런 것
see.
같습니다. 우리 일요일 충전소님 saying he just needs to 손절 them? What's 손절? 네.
Just to disconnect with someone and just, like, I don't need to see them again.
Yeah, so disconnecting, that
Right.
works. Also, how was your GPA? 성적은 어떠니? 이거 정말 stress.
Right. So being curious about your family and relatives is a common trait among Korean people. So here are some reasons why.
Okay.
One, Koreans show a lot of respect for older people in their families. Part of the respect is asking about how they are doing and what's happening in their lives. It's a way of showing their care and our interest in their well-being.
네, 너를 생각해서 그래.
네.
Right?
Second, Korean families often have very strong emotional connections. They often express their care and love for family members by asking detailed questions. They want to make sure everyone is okay and happy.
그렇죠.
Three, conversations about the future, including weddings and births and other life events, are common during these traditional holidays. So people may be curious about what plans their relatives have because they want to offer support and advice.
Yeah, that's true, right? When I was young, whenever I hear those questions, the first thing I would exactly 우리 일개 충전소님 saying that sounds like gaslighting, right? 처음에는 저 옛날에는 어렸을 때는 why is this person keeps gaslighting me, right? 이렇게 생각을 했어요. So, but when I get older, as I got older, I came to understand, the adult ways and the adult thinking. I came to realize this is their way of showing me that they care. 방법이 조금 나랑 안 맞는데 이거라도 이렇게 I care about you, I think about you, 관심이 있다 보여주는 걸로 이해해서 그래서 I think I understand them a bit more these days. 그래서 막 속으로 막 짜증 덜 내는 것 같아요. 요즘에는, right? 민수 많이 컸다. 민수 많이 컸어. 네.
Right. So, according to an article from an international newspaper online, each generation has specific questions that they don't want to hear during Chuseok. So let's see if you can guess the correct age range.
네.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quiz.
네.
So I'm going to read you the most hated questions.
Okay.
One. When are you going to get a job?
Ooh.
What generation?
I feel like so like age-wise, when are you gonna get a job? I feel like this is a question I feel like 20-year-olds
Yes.
get.
Yeah, that's
맞아요?
correct. Yes.
Because it's around that time like you just graduated college, right?
So another one.
네.
How about, are you preparing well for retirement?
오, 은퇴를 잘 준비하고 있습니까?
So
I want
what age groups?
I guess like right before the age group, right before the retirement, so like 50s.
Right, that's correct. Wow,
맞아요.
you're good at it.
네, I'm like thinking like I'm picturing myself getting those questions. 내가
Okay.
이 나이 때 어느 나이 때 이런 질문을 받을까라고 생각해요.
네. Here are questions that people don't want to hear. Teenagers, as you said, how are your grades? Which university are you going to go?
맞아요. 네.
20s, when are you going to get a job?
네, 맞습니다.
And 30s, how much is your salary?
싫어.
I know, right? When are you going to get married?
I'm having flashbacks. 네. 트라우마가 다시 막 올라오고 있어요. 네.
40s, when are you going to have have you experienced one of your relatives asking questions about your personal life or a situation that you are, rather not talk about?
Yeah,
Like,
so especially for my in-laws, well, not only my in-laws, but my side too,
Okay.
right? Me and my wife, whenever we go to
Sure.
gatherings, especially like 추석 or like 명절 gatherings, yeah, second, 네, 둘째
둘째.
질문을 많이 받고 있습니다 요즘. 그래서 the answer that we give them, it's it's like it's not up to us, I guess. Which is kind of like it's an answer they don't understand a lot. Why is it not up to you? It's definitely up to you, but it's like it doesn't like happen so easily, right? So that's probably like the most stressful
Oh.
thing that we always have to answer these days. Now,
Okay.
is there anything then, 우리 원장님,
Yeah.
is there anything that maybe Gio can keep in mind and maybe try
Right.
during these situations?
So before you meet your relatives, imagine the question that they might ask you, and then have some short, friendly answers prepared in your mind. For example, if they ask you, when will you get married? You might answer, right now I'm focused on my career and personal growth, but I will definitely let you know when there are any exciting updates.
오, 기대하게 만드는 거. Okay.
This way, if and when they actually ask you these questions, you won't feel surprised or confused. So you can respond calmly and with confidence, making the conversation smoother for everyone.
Yeah, well, that's actually pretty good. Just telling, right now I'm focused on this, but later, 나중에 그런 일 있으면 우리 뭐 이모님, 고모님, 삼촌님, 뭐 이모부님 제가 꼭 알려드릴게요라고
네,
이렇게 하면
네,
되겠네요. That's a pretty good idea. So preparing answers ahead of time, that
Right.
helps. What else can Chio do?
So after giving them general answers that don't reveal too much detail, you can shift the conversation to a different topic. So for example, if they're asking about your job plans, you could say, I'm still exploring different options. By the way, have you been up to anything fun or exciting recently? This way, you are taking the focus away from the sensitive topic and steering it towards something more comfortable and interesting for both of you.
맞아요. 저는 이거 많이 하거든요. So, like if I get like a question about 뭐 둘째 언제 가주니?
네네.
이모 우리 뭐지 저번 달 어디 갔다 왔다면서요? 그거 어땠어요? 바로 제 다른 질문을 던져요. 근데 우리
네네네.
어른들은
네.
이제 자기 자랑을 좀 하는 거 좋아하니까 그래 나 거기 갔다 왔지라고. I like it when I steer the conversation in another direction,
I
right? So
see.
that's something. But it's a lot of work. 좀 effort를 좀 많이 신경을 많이 써야 되는 부분인데.
네네.
Are there any other ways that you could maybe avoid certain conversations, 원장님?
Sure. So if you ever feel like the conversation is getting to be too much, or you need some time to yourself, it's good. It's good to have a polite way to end it with a positive tone. You can say something like, I've really enjoyed catching up, but I have to go help so and so with something right now. So let's chat again later.
네.
So this way you can exit the conversation on a positive note, and it gives you a chance to take a break.
I like this one too. Now, this one works if, let's say, you have a big house. 집이 좀 크면 이렇게, one room you're having a conversation. I have to go help my mom in the kitchen over there, right? I'll catch up with you later. But if you live in like a smaller place, like you have to say, I'll catch up with you later. 이제 그냥 뒤돌아서 이제 다른 일 하잖아요. So choose these options according to, what works best for you, right? But 원장님, I have a question then.
네.
What if you really want to get away, especially if you have really persistent relatives?
Right. So it's a tough situation. If they keep asking you questions that you feel are too personal or make you uncomfortable, it's totally okay to kindly let them know that you'd rather not talk about certain things. So you can say something like, I'd prefer not to discuss that right now, but I'd love to hear about anything good that's happened to you recently, since we last spoke. So this way we are letting them know your limits in a friendly way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like not so much in Korean society. Let's say like in America, in the US, people letting other people know that you're uncomfortable with something, that this is where you draw the line. It's very accepted in the US, because boundaries is very important.
Right.
But I feel like, here in Korea, 우리 문화가 단체 생활이잖아요. Like it's really tough to like tell people like, oh, I don't want to, or like, I don't want to talk about this, especially when they're your like relatives, right? 그래서 but these days it's changing a little bit. 근데 요즘 시대가 많이 바뀌고 people's boundaries are very important these days, right? 그래서 maybe for Gio as well as some of our listeners, 너무 이제 like the family culture 너무 옛날이라고 생각 안 해도 될 것 같아요. 그래서 우리 고모, 이모, 뭐 삼촌, 뭐 작은 아빠, 작은 엄마가 이걸 내가 이렇게 말하면 어떻게 받아들일까라고 너무 걱정 안 하고, but let them know you're uncomfortable. I think that's probably the better way to go. Do you agree?
Right. But 한 번 말했을 때가 아니라 여러 번 반복해서 계속 말귀를 못 알아들으시는
그렇죠.
이렇게 얘기했는데도
네.
자꾸 이렇게 돌리고 했는데도
네.
계속 하시는 분들은
네.
한 번씩 이렇게 직접적으로
맞아요. 왜냐면 진짜 가족들의 딱 그 한두 분 그 진짜 눈치 없는 가족분들이 가끔씩 있잖아요. Right? So letting them know is also very important. Now, then 원장님, what if we turn the tables? Then how can we avoid being that nosy relative? Because I'm sure, when they ask you questions, I'm sure they don't know that they're the nosy relative, right? 내가 물어보는 게 우리 민수한테 스트레스를 준다라고 이렇게 생각하지 않아요. Because like you said, Korean relatives especially do this because they care about you. 내가 민수를 좋아하고 가족이니까 사랑하니까 이렇게 I'm giving him a lot of this attention. What should we keep in mind if we don't want to be that nosy relative?
Right. So we know you care about your family members, but sometimes your questions may make other relatives feel uncomfortable. Let's try to make gathering like Chuseok more enjoyable for everyone. So instead of asking this like, are you going to get married, or why don't you have a better job? How about if we ask questions like, how have you been up to lately?
Yeah.
What are your newest hobbies or interests? Tell us about any exciting experience you've had recently. These kinds of questions allow them to share more without feeling pressured or judged. So remember, everyone's journey is unique and it's important to support each other.
I don't think I've ever gotten questions like that. 요즘 우리 민수 요즘 뭐에 관심이 있어요? What are you interested in these days? I don't think I've ever gotten that question from relatives. 슬프네요. But I think that's good to keep in mind, right? Show them maybe, I don't know, 진짜 궁금해서 물어보면 I don't think like, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get a job? 이런 거를 보자마자 물어보는 건 좀 아닌 것 같아요. Like at first sight. 우리 민수. 둘째 어디 있어? 보자마자 물어보는 게 아니라 like really like it's like etiquette. Start a conversation first, right? 민수 오랜만이네. 요즘 뭐 어때? Right? Where did you go on 휴가? Did you go summer vacation? 이런 거 물어보고 일단 좀 눈치 보고 타이밍 맞으면 and then maybe little by little start opening up, right?
Right.
But these are, I think, great questions that you could maybe ask instead of, right? Those stressful questions. 원장님, 우리 오늘 토픽 왜냐면 다음 주가 당장 이게 추석이니까 우리 청취자들 몇 분 벌써 무서워하는 분들이 있거든요. 우리 토끼님 saying 추석에 모두 들어본 얘기네요. 다음 주가 두려워요라고 합니다. 토끼님 also probably going through right what Gio has gone through. We have 가보자고님 saying those questions make me lose faith in humanity. 인간의 믿음을 잃었대요. 이런 질문이 나오면 얼마나 힘들겠어요. 그렇죠?
네.
Right? We have 인류의 충주선님 saying it's none of your business. 이렇게 대답하면 is it a good idea or a bad idea?
It's kind of like American
그렇죠.
way to say.
근데 우리 충주선님 그 말을 조금 예쁘게 바꿔서 저는 like you said, I'm uncomfortable talking about this right now.
네네.
그렇게 말하는 게 좀 더 낫죠.
네.
Right? 충주선님 also saying it's better to go on a trip during 추석. 차라리 이런 거를 또 경험하는 것보다 그냥 다른 데 가는 게 낫다. 이렇게 말하는데 but it's right. I think we laugh about this, but this is something that a lot of people go through. I feel like. So maybe for this 추석, it doesn't need to be too stressful. I think you need to put in the effort.
Right.
Also, maybe relatives can also have that little bit of 눈치, And if you're listening, 하고 if you think that maybe you're the nosy type, I think it's kind of like a good eye opener for today, right?
네네. I hope
우리 헤일리님도 문자 들어왔는데요. Boundaries are very important for everyone.
Right.
Do not cross the line, please. 그렇죠? In a perfect world, 모두 다 그렇게 생각했으면. 진짜 행복한 추석을 보낼 수 있을 것 같아요. I think we could all have a happy 추석 if everybody thought that way. 근데 perfect world은 아니잖아요. 그렇죠. 그래서 여러분, with the 추석 holidays coming up, 진짜 화이팅입니다.
화이팅.
네. 원장님, you're going to be back for next week for 추석 as well.
Sure.
We're going to actually continue 추석 talk for next week's episode of 마음톡톡. 근데 오늘 원장님 오늘은 여기까지 들어갈게요.
네, 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
네.
We'll see you next week, okay?
네, see you next week.
Bye.